Hey, what's up, Canada and beyond? Welcome back. It is Thursday, September 5th, and it's going to be a slightly shorter show than usual. I'm doing another a guest spot on a show right after this one. So I'll give you guys all the details at the end of this show here, and I hope you join me over there for something that might be a little bit more entertaining and maybe even a little bit more uplifting and potentially more future looking than what today's quick show is going to be about, because today, guys, so we're going to get right into it here, and I hope you guys have got your hip waders on for a little stroll through the swamp. So just before we get into this here, guys, the best way to get all of the details, including all of the receipts, is to get subscribed over on Substack, whatsupcanada.substack.com. It's where I provide all of the links, all of the resources, any of the documents, all of the receipts for whatever we cover on our show here every night. And if you can't remember that, just remember whatsupcanada.org, because it's you can find it there, as well as all of the shows. You can get a subscription there for free, as well as you can contact our partners who, as things get more insane out there, our partners only make more and more sense. Of course, we've got tomorrow night Bryce with a New World Precious Metals, Bankers, Bandit, Bullion, and Bucks with Bryce. And we've got a special deal going on for, I think it's a dollar for your membership for a year with our Patriot Switch program. Worth taking a little bit of a tour, talking to one of the ladies that works on the team to help people just do better. I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll do more on that in the coming days here real soon. But to get right into it tonight, because we haven't got a whole lot of time, I'm going to get over the ghastly, horrible, worst news first. In Saskatchewan, Evan Hardy College is collegiate. This is breaking news kind of across the country right now. An incident at a school where a 15-year-old girl was assaulted by a 14-year-old girl was apparently doused in some sort of accelerant and lit on fire. She is alive but in serious condition, been taken to the hospital, and there are no further details being released at this point in time. So that is a little bit more from global news, basically exactly what I just told you guys. Pray for that little girl, and really, we got to start really wondering what the hell is going on in our country. How do we get to the point where we've got little girls burning up other little girls in school? This one, so I'm going to skip through a bunch of this swampy type stuff real quick. We're going to spend a little bit of extra time on our Canadian political swamp, and then take a look at a few of the repercussions of this insanity. But this was an interesting question that was posed on X today that kind of made me go, what if governments learned from the MK Ultra experiments in the 50s that trauma allows you to control people? So they purposely orchestrate disastrous events to keep their citizens afraid and dependent on them, and that's one of the reasons that mental illness has been rising. He adds an LOL in there for effect, but for those that have been around on this platform, are familiar with our friend Michelle Smith and dealing with the trauma discussion going back to 2021. And the tsunami of trauma that's been manifested, perpetrated, created, manufactured by by some people in our establishment. So that was an interesting question to pose. Maybe we'll be able to get Michelle on to address some of that. She's been working on something real soon, but there's some real issues going on. Uh, and so this next one's kind of a meme, but is it really? So Justin Trudeau calls a pref. This is a satire platform called Tokyo Rosie. Breaking: Justin Trudeau calls press conference to confirm deal with Jagmeet Singh is done. However, deal with Satan still very much in effect. And I don't think that there's a lot of Canadians or anybody in the world right now that would argue that a whole lot, given what we're seeing happening around our country and its impact. So this is a 46-second clip that I'm going to play for everybody here in from Brian Lilly, of a drug addict in Vancouver, who says he wants the government to stop handing out dillies, the hydromorphone pills used in safe supply, says they are harder to get off of than fentanyl. Because it's putting controls us from the citizens of the party. Keep us on here by being hard to figure out at least 1,000 times over the day left fucking this is our liberal government in action, guys. You know, and some other points that have been coming up, and I think it's imperative that we take note and have the discernment of who is putting in these policies of safe supply. It's the same um I don't know what is a self-loathing middle class liberal progressive virtue signaling psychopathic clone trooper. I don't know who it is, but it's the same people that are championing and putting in all of those different policies and destructive things that really, like the dude said, it's what keeps people down there. There's no support, there's only enablement. And so we're going to talk a little bit for a couple of minutes here uh, about what is sucking up the the insane oxygen in the mercenary media these days. Comment here: the government is the biggest dealers ever. 100%. They deal in death, destruction, and despair. That is what our Canadian establishment seems to be addicted with. Whatever puts people, Canadians, into the ground, it seems, is what they're all in support of, and whoever it is that pulls them their strings. But this whole thing, this political with Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau, I think it needs to be seen for what it is. There's some events that have happened, particularly the union worker at the steel mill that whose video has gone viral all over the world, embarrassing Justin Trudeau. All Justin Trudeau had to offer was donuts, and just Jagmeet was up for a leadership review. So no sooner did Justin get absolutely humiliated, did that go immediately viral around the world, embarrassing and humiliating them all. And Jagmeet being cornered, his self-serving pension being at risk. I think he actually, in his mind, believes that he can save his party, save his pension, save himself, and end up in second place as the opposition. In his mind, I think he actually thinks he can be prime minister, but I think his political move right now is him believing that he can outlive Trudeau's Liberal Party stronger than where Trudeau is projected to crash land at this point. So it's it's absolute absurdity. And that's kind of this, I think, is one of the reasons why uh, Jagmeet felt it safe, and the timing was was not going to get any better for him. It's not going to get any better for Jagmeet Singh in his role in this than right now after Trudeau's national campaign director, Jeremy Broadhurst. And I read his resignation letter, and I almost had to upchuck in reading it. Katie Telford, clone trooper and good loyal disciple, not done with the Liberal Party, just doesn't think Justin Trudeau can win and thinks somebody else might have a better, more refreshing, energetic path to taking Trudeau to another victory, because he doesn't think that Trudeau's got it. So pretty crazy how arrogant this party actually is at its core. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the corruption here. We're going to get to that right quick. But this is, all of it is theater. It is pomp and circumstance right now. As we've been looking at over the last couple of weeks, this is what they're meant to be doing right now. They're doing their roles and doing this. They're keeping us divided and uninformed while they race home some of the bills that they've got in the Senate. And I am really, really mortified about Bill C-293 and Bill C-63. C-63 might not make it through if they actually call an election, but Bill C-293, guys, that is pure evil. And that they could theoretically ram home this month. And it doesn't matter who we elect. Who's going to take anything away from this Senate? And the more I look at this Senate, the more I cringe, because these people aren't duly elected. They are not they're not representative of the people. They're appointed, hand selected, and 100 of them supersedes all of the parliament. Once it's through parliament and it's in their hands, the only thing between there and law is royal assent. So these people are actually not representative, and I don't see how changing seats at the prime ministerial level is going to undo anything that they put through. So we need to get ahead of this Senate right now in this sitting, in my opinion. So, yeah. And meanwhile, here in Canada, nothing to see happening here in Canada, folks. Just yesterday, the Liberals were talking about, interest rate decrease, right? Down to 4.25%. Woohoo! Celebrate, Christy Freeland. Every Liberal hack out there, celebrating. See, it's working. It's working. I think were the headlines that they were using. But when you take a blink for a second, here you see interest rates have skyrocketed, and people beg to the Prime Minister for relief. Justin Trudeau tells Canadians they have nothing to do with interest rates. Rates dropped a few points, but they are still 6 times what they were a few years ago. And all of a sudden, the Liberal of Canada is bragging, Liberal Party of Canada is bragging about how we lowered interest rates and that their plan for the economy is working. So yeah, exactly that. It's working. It's working. That was what Chrystia Freeland's statement was yesterday when they were announcing more billions to feed your kids Cheerios, starting with the East Coast, because you don't have enough money left to buy your own damn kids Cheerios. So the Liberal Party wants to buy your kids Cheerios these days. And they asked the question here, why do key interest rates only seem to drop when an election is looming or planned? It's quite a coincidence, right? And here you can see interest rates from, I don't know, what it would have been 0.5% in, early 2022 to 4.25% in the last 2 years. So I'm sure Bryce will have a lot to talk about that tomorrow as well. But it's just scandalous. And meanwhile, Mark Primo, former manager at Trudeau's Department of Industry, has received 0 jail time after pleading guilty to handing out 72 sole source federal contracts to his own company and pocketing $90,000 in profit. Oh, but I don't think he's the only one. Remember when the Trudeau Liberals gifted $13 billion to Volkswagen as last year as part of their climate scam initiatives? Yeah, it looks like the Libs chose poorly, as well always, as Volkswagen's choice is to fire union workers and cut costs or go bankrupt. So I don't think there's too many union workers anywhere that are actually supporting Trudeau or Jagmeet Singh at this point, when everything that they have touched is absolutely imploding. And another little look at the kind of, taking two blinks and looking at the reality of the swamp stench, corruption, the economic gap between Canada and America, our economies, has now reached its widest point in nearly 100 years. The US is on track to produce nearly 50% more per person than Canada will. This is stunning divergence, is unprecedented in modern history. Let that sink in for a moment when you're reading the ex posts by Chrystia Freeland and her boss. Very, very sound statement. Well, at least the illusion in America is of your quality of life getting better, and I think, despite having 4 years of corn pop and soda pop there, they haven't been able to do as much damage as what Trudeau and the Liberals have in their 9 years. That they've had in office, being set up previously by how did CSIT put it? Compromised governments and prime ministers going back to Brian Mulroney, every single one of them. So we've had traitors in office our entire time of government, right? According to CSIS anyways. And just a reminder, other people are noticing the Senate. We all need to be noticing the Senate and asking ourselves, why are we paying for hand-picked liberal activist guardians of the globalist New World Order agenda as dictated by the hashtag WEF, Fourth Reich, and Klaus Schwab? And meanwhile, we're giving each one of them a basic salary of $178,000 a year plus expenses for life. That's the reward for these Trudeau loyalists that get appointed to the Senate. Yeah, and you're paying for it. And these people will do what Trudeau asks them to do. I can't believe for a second that they will not. So again, changing prime minister, how do they get anything from the Senate in Canada? How do they ever retract anything back through the Senate in Canada? I don't see that that's possible. You could go with Pierre Poilievre or Max. It could be any one of them could go in there and say, we have 100% support of the Canadian population. And the Senate can say, no, yeah, no, done. Yeah. The king says we have this power. And Trudeau said we have this power for life. Right. And this one is a little disturbing, guys. This one's going to take more digging into, but I thought this was kind of a going to be one of those moments here, guys. Catch your breath, sit down, hold on to something when you see this. This thread below details the amount of taxpayer dollars given to charities. And no, not you're thinking Red Cross, UNICEF. No. Sorry, folks. That's not what they're talking about. This is a charity industry, and a lot of them are political charities. This looks at 86,000 registered charities. We looked here a little bit ago, a couple of 3 weeks or so ago, and there was 177 plus thousand nonprofits and NGOs that work in the same capacity. But just on these charities, the government has given $1.5 trillion $1.5 trillion since 2010 to 2018. That's your money, folks. With 2 million Canadians lining up in food banks. Medically assisted death by people desperate to get out of the poverty. The disparity, this equity thing, they never had any intent of bringing Canada or bringing the world up to the quality of life that we used to expect in Canada before 2015. They intended to fully drag Canadians down to the third world equality and eat the crickets. $1.5 trillion given to charities by the government. I have no idea which specifically at this point. It's interesting because every week we uncover and expose and name a new one that's behind one of these organizations, like the C40.org, the 350.org, the anti-hate networks, all of these organizations, $1.5 trillion, and people are starving, can't afford groceries here in Canada. That's rot beyond comprehension. And what are they doing? Covering up. This, I heard, what's her name? Gould, Gould, Catherine Gould, I think her name is, making excuses about how the economy just needs a little more time to recover post-COVID, and she almost slipped and said recession, but it was an assault. It was meant to destroy the middle class and the lower class, absolutely meant to put everybody into such a state of crisis, trauma, and shock that they would accept being offered MAID, which has become standard issue solution for the government and these charities and nonprofits. Our health minister is trying to expand the state murder process. They're organizing and subsidizing death doula services. They are literally trying to kill people, and through this COVID bioweapons program, now they're destroying every single bit of evidence. The government has ordered that they destroy every vial of that toxic bioweapon that they used to attack innocent and unsuspecting Canadians. That is how Karina Gould, yes, thank you, Bill, sorry, Karina Gould, excusing the government, saying it takes time to fix the problems that they've created, the problem that they manifested. They destroyed the middle class in Canada. Why? Because that was the backbone of Canada. Now they want to destroy the evidence. I don't think there can be any amnesty. I do not believe in amnesty. I cannot get over it and move on. I'm just not wired that way. But pretty diabolical stuff, shady stuff from the government of Canada. Interesting change in direction. We're going a little bit global here. I'm kind of racing through some of this to get through this tonight to get ahead of the next show. I'll probably spend a little bit more time talking about that. But Conor McGregor, world famous, infamous UFC fighter, has made an announcement saying, as president, I hold the power to summon the dial as well as dissolve it. Government. He's running for president. So, as I said before, I would have all the answers the people of Ireland seek from these thieves of the working man, these disruptors of the family unit, these destructors of small businesses, and on and on and on. These charlatans in their positions of power would be summoned to answer to the people of Ireland, and I would have it done by day end. Or I would be left with no choice but to dissolve the government completely. Stop the train until the people of Ireland deserve the answers they seek. Point blank. This would be my power as president. I know very well Ireland needs an active president employed wholly by the people of Ireland. It is me. I am the only logical choice. 2025 is coming. I think people around the world are looking for their William Wallace. This is so parallel. The crimes that are running rampant, the evil, the control, all of these things. People are looking for their William Wallace, and I think that this is interesting because we're seeing what you're not seeing out there is the desperation of the left, while the populist national right is rising in their nations, and their level of scammery and election interference and manipulation and election corruption is failing. And Germany is making a really hard push. Apparently, they won the election to eliminate the globalist left, but then, oops, water main broke, missed ballots, blah, 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 blah. No, sorry. Then all of a sudden, the conservative right didn't quite win, but they came close. Sorry about your luck. Maybe next time. Kind of like Trump. They did to Trump in 2020. Same thing they did in France with the coalition, Macron. Oops, sorry guys. There was a mistake. This is the way it's going to go. UK, same thing. Oops, sorry guys. Last minute rally. This minority government under Keir Starmer, the guy that let Jimmy Savile, the world's most elite level pedo procurer, I guess is one way to describe Jimmy Savile. The Jeffrey Epstein, before Jeffrey Epstein was Jeffrey Epstein. Somebody had to train him, cure him, carry on the legacy. So that was Jimmy Savile. And Starmer got him off, and Starmer was also the one that legitimized, government funding for migrants over, regular Britons. So, a little bit of another update from a scheme in the UK. I think this was worth listening to here.
The next thing I'm going to tell you is unreal, because now we've been offered £2,500 to join a scheme for 3 years, and we don't supply you any food. Now listen to that.
We're going to go hungry.
I am going to plough a field. I'm going to put spring barley in. I'm going to get £440 off the government per acre. Okay? That when it comes to crop size, leave it rot in the ground. So I don't get no straw for the cattle. You don't get nothing for your bread, for everything we make. Okay? But I can also plant bee mix, which is for birds and bees. I can plant wild bird seed, which is for wild birds. I can also be paid to buy a ton of wild bird seed like anybody puts in their garden for the birds and drill it out on the ground once a week. I can get paid for that. Now my accountant says do it, because in doing that I've not got to buy fertiliser, which since the Ukraine war it's gone from £250 an acre to £1,000 a ton. So in order to fertilise your food, I've got to buy fertiliser at £1,000 a ton. It's come down a little bit in some times and it goes up a little bit. But that's basically where we are. So I now got a crop that I don't have to spray. I don't have to send nobody out there with a tractor. I don't have to fertilise it. And I can just leave it in the ground and let it rot. I'll pick up my £440 an acre and go all over it again. And the government is giving me £2,500 for the next 3 years to do that.
Wow.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, why?
And he's not the only one. They're literally paying farmers everywhere to destroy their crops, and to set up a famine. I have these recurring flashbacks to shows that we've done in the past. When the night of the Brexit countdown, when I said that this was exactly what was going to be coming, and everybody thought I was batshit cray cray. I had people trying to get my internet removed. People that were supposedly on my side of the understanding of things. It's just absolutely insane how diabolical these quote unquote leaders, how evil they truly are, and how committed they are to their new world order. Yeah, it's absolutely a display of extremely well done programming and brainwashing. I don't know how else to say it. I really don't. And this I thought was interesting, perhaps a lesson on what maybe should be going on. Uh, I didn't stay on. Where was it? That was Andy Lee's post. Sorry. I've skipped over this one here. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but I got distracted. So the counter of Cycle Capital that got taxpayer grants, which Stephen Gilboa holds shares in. Surprise, 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 right? Who was appointed by Justin Trudeau, Andre Lee Smithot, the director who resigned in disgrace from the CIB after running SDTC, is also the head of some Chinese company. Say, what? Really? No, not Stephen Jabot, not Green Jesus, not the career eco-terrorist criminal appointed guardian of Sir Lord Farquaad Justin Castro Trudeau, right? Couldn't be that, right? Couldn't be, more Chinese interference, and because that just can't happen in Canada because they all get caught, right? No, it's not. Yeah, it's not like in America where you can see here. Former deputy chief of staff to the New York governor, Democrat Kathy Hochul, was arrested on charges of being an agent for Communist China. In 2019, she met with the CCP officials in Nanjing, her birthplace, reportedly promising to promote investment in China. Geez, it's not like we don't have any of those running around here in Canada, right? But at least, somebody somewhere is arresting these Chinese spies. Nothing to see here in Canada, folks. We just let these. Where'd she go? Let these foreign infiltrators run our government. Right. Right. This is a 2-minute video I thought was worth listening to for everybody. Yeah. This is Australian Senator Malcolm Roberts, who has the guts to talk about the World Economic Forum's dystopian Great Reset that all of the basically the 338 in Parliament right now are all subscribed to, or very mildly tokenly giving lip service to opposing. This is I thought was really well articulated for somebody that actually had a little bit of cojones or maybe a little bit of spine.
Instead of working together to push Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum plan based on United Nations policies, work together instead for our country. Klaus Schwab's life by subscription, quote, is really serfdom. It's slavery. Billionaire globalist corporations will own everything: homes, factories, farms, cars, furniture. And everyday citizens will rent what they need, if their social credit score allows. The plan of the Great Reset is that you will die with nothing. To pull off this evil plan, Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum will need to take more than just material possessions from Australians. Senators in this very chamber today who support the Great Reset.
Oh, you thought he was talking about Canada, right?
Threaten our privacy, freedom, and dignity. Yes, they're in this Senate chamber. One nation vehemently opposes the Great Reset, the digital identity bill, theft of agricultural land use, forcing farmers off their land, and all of the Great Reset. One Nation has a comprehensive plan to bring our beautiful country back to sustainable prosperity. And in the months ahead, we will be rolling that plan out. Instead of lib-lab pushing Klaus Schwab's Great Reset with the tagline, "You'll own nothing and be happy," One Nation advocates the Great Resist. We stand for a world where individuals and communities have primacy over predatory globalist billionaires and their quizzling bureaucrats, politicians, and mouthpiece media. One Nation accepts the challenge to provide a better future for everyday Australians. We have one flag, we are one community, and we are one nation.
That's the way it bloody well should be, if you ask me, in my humble opinion. One flag, one nation, one set of rules.
Instead of working together to...
And we should be working together towards that, not this infiltrated demolition team, right? I kind of tend to agree with you right now on that, honestly, a little bit. I don't see where they serve or benefit Canadians in any capacity. So we're getting down to the wire here. I want to bring up just this statement from Ryan Dawson. If you don't know, Ryan Dawson is he did a lot of exposing on what really happened in 9/11. He's kind of a little bit of a more Gen Z type of truth teller. Lives in Japan right now, but he put up a statement that I thought was very relevant and what kind of addressed. It was bold for to maybe suggest in a very well articulated way how to have a little bit more tolerance, a little bit more discretion, and maybe a little discernment of how we approach some contentious subjects, right? And this, I think about this often because I do tend to bring thought-provoking discussions to the table that you just don't get elsewhere. And I'm always looking at how to address difficult conversations. So this was, I thought, a really great thing to reconsider. And I'm going to probably turn it into a meme, but doesn't matter what the argument is. Slamming Churchill is not praising the opposite Hitler. Slamming Kamala is not praising Trump. Slamming the jabs is not promoting Q people. Slamming climate alarmists is not climate denial. Slamming Israel is not praising Hamas. Slamming Lindsey Graham is not homophobic. Slamming the Ukraine war is not endorsing Putin. Slamming Alex Jones is not endorsing the official story. Stop being a light switch brain NPC. I thought that is exactly how we need to wait a second and go, whoa, just because somebody doesn't agree with me doesn't mean it's an automatic endorsement for the other side. I see a lot of this out there. There is hate recruiters. They're join my team to hate this, that, or the other. And the flip side of that coin is equally the same. The rage recruiters get mad at these guys because I'm mad at these guys, and if you don't automatically be mad at those guys, then you're the enemy too, right? So this is kind of really what I got out of what Ryan was trying to say there, and it's kind of in that spirit of things where getting to the end here, I'm going to give you guys a heads up out of what I'm doing next and where you're going to do this. It's kind of a double header tonight. I was invited after last Wednesday's show because I let Jason Lavigne know that his discussion about constitutional conventions inspired our conversation about constitutional conventions this past Wednesday, which kind of went viral. And Jason invited me to his platform to further the discussion. And I want you all to remember this is how Jason wrote this up as he sees this show. It's his platform, invited me to be a guest. I'm going to read this to you guys for those of you guys that maybe can't read it in a small print. This is no endorsement of anything. It was just, this is the thought-provoking discussion to me. I'm always looking for the truth at the most base level, and I'm looking to find the people that have the best answers for that. And I see a lot going on. So this is how he's billing it. I want people to know out there, I have no allegiances, no affiliations to anything except the truth, giving the people the truth. And there's a reason why anytime I go into one of these conversations, I want Mr. Doug Force in there, because I am just a megaphone. I do a little bit of research. I know just enough to be dangerous. I know just enough to make some points and talk about it. I am no expert in any of the things that we discuss, but I've learned some things because I'm looking for some answers as to why and how do we fix some of the corruption, right? So Jason's post and his show, which is going to be streaming at 8 o'clock on his platforms on X, Rumble, Facebook, Twitch, and the Jason Lavigne Show, or the LavigneShow.com. And I said I wouldn't do this show without Doug being there because I can't answer the questions. I can find reasons why we need solutions. I can find I can lift the carpet off the corruption at every level, but I can't provide the documentation, the receipts, the article numbers, those kinds of things. So I can't have this discussion. Doug can. So I told Jason the only way I was going to have this discussion was if Doug was there. So this is what we're having, and this is how Jason described it. He says, join us on the Lavigne Show for a thought-provoking discussion, that it'll be, with Wayne Peters, What's Up Canada, and constitutional expert Doug Force at the Myths Canada. As we explore the possibility of Canada transitioning from a constitutional monarchy to a constitutional republic. Well, I didn't say that, but if that's what they want to discuss, I'm just trying to understand why we answer to a king in a corrupt system, right? I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. That's my role as a journalist, to get to the bottom of that, right? And so have thought-provoking discussion. Okay, I'll sign up for that. So in this episode, we explore a hypothetical scenario. What if Canada could convene a constitutional convention to propose that the monarchy peacefully relinquish its role, thereby returning full governance to the Canadian people? He's going to learn a whole bunch of stuff tonight because it's not returning full governance. That's a whole other process, and words are going to matter, and that's why Doug is there going to be there to answer those questions. That's my understanding, and that the right has been there since 1931, but we have never picked up we never accepted the job in 1931, or our ancestors did not. So he's not anything except the best researcher, and there's other people out there having the discussions as well. But he's the only one that can provide, the backup to what he's talking about. He can direct people to the exact legislation to answer the questions and back up his discussion. So that's, what people needs to understand. Nobody's projecting anything. And there's a reason why I think that this conversation is important, needs to be had, because I remember the sense of uncertainty through the 97-99 Quebec separation referendum. And man, I really didn't understand things, and that's not Wayne's way. To not understand things. How can I talk about something I don't understand? So this is, tonight's show is going to be great at helping people understand things, and that's really all it's about, is understanding things. We can all point fingers and assume and identify things that are broken. Jason Lavigne is, we're all controversial characters. Doesn't matter who you ask. That's important to note. We all say things that are disagreeable. Jason is doing things from his perspective, his lens, and I got to give him props for being open to having the discussion. I can't see anybody else who's attempting to be to campaign for office with that would be willing to have this discussion. It's like I talked about. Ask your politician if they'd be willing to support seating a de jure Canada. It's really that simple. Jason wants to know, and he wants to do it in a public venue where people can ask the right questions and have people that can answer those questions. And I look forward to people trying to change our minds, right? But anyways, this episode is not just a thought experiment, but an invitation for you to join us in a what-if conversation about Canada's governance structure. By discussing the potential for establishing a republic akin to the United States, we aim to spark a dialogue on the benefits, challenges, and implications of such a significant change. Your voice is crucial in this conversation. Wayne Peters, known for his insightful commentary on constitutional matters. The only reason I have that is, and I think that is extremely overstating my skill set on that, but I've asked some relevant questions and learned some things. But that's why Doug's going to be there to answer there again. So this is Jason, a aspiring politician and independent journalist. Wayne Peters, just a loudmouth misfit, troublemaker, MSM disruptor, and a deep dive researcher getting together. And why did I agree to do this final post? Because as an independent journalist and a political commentary platform, I've listened to thousands of Canadians and interviewed hundreds and hundreds more over the past 5 years of broadcasting this platform for all of you guys. There are some recurring themes, stories, and issues. And we can all point fingers. No one seems to have a real idea outside of the programming, and a real political solution appears further than ever from possibility. The tribal politics, everything is just, everybody's off the hook. Everybody's got an idea and it's follow me or else, right? So I just want to have discussions about, what's the reality of it? Get to the reality of it, because we've been gaslit for 90 years. I know that part. We don't even take part anymore because we, the silent majority, understand the system to be broken beyond comprehension. Trudeau got in with 29% of the vote. I hear about it. We identify it all every single day in 1,000 ways, going in circles with no real or actual change in sight, except more corruption, more incompetency, more debt, more crime, more invasion. The list goes on and on and on and on. How much is enough suffering for you? Before we devolve into Venezuela or a fascist post-nation state, maybe a thought-provoking discussion isn't a bad thing from time to time. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the show tonight. I'm going to drop off here in 1 minute. I encourage people, this is going to be, I think I'm going to be able to stream this out across 2 of my platforms. I think Jason said so. What's going to be easiest, I'm not sure. Most likely X and YouTube or Facebook. I won't have time to set up Rumble for that, so you might not get that until tomorrow. So that was a mouthful and a speed read through the swamp. I hope I didn't get too much of the swamp stank on everybody. I love you all. Stay mighty, my friends and patriots and fellow warriors. Get everything you need on Substack. If you have something I need to know, send me an email at contact@whatsupcanada.org. And to help me or any of your other favorite journalists swimming through the swamp for you, I encourage you to keep them going. Special thanks to Rick and Lisa and Donna and Carol for helping me keep this free for everybody else. And this is how they do that. I love you all. Stay mighty, my friends, patriots, warriors. And I guess we will see you on Jason's show or back here tomorrow with Bryce. But in the meantime, think about our partners here at Patriot Switch. Remember, $1 membership for a year. What do you got to lose? Check it out. I'll see you later.